We're good.
Come to see what that. Okay. How are you? Okay.
Gonna do it without any prompting. I don't know. I'm gonna try.
You can do it.
No. Hi, I'm Rob Dodig. I am well. I do have no time constraint, but the Rangers play the Devils at 7 p.m. So we have Dr. Duncan, I think, missing, or she may be late. I don't see anybody else. Elephants, none. And let's make progress this evening.
I'm Will Rothenberg. I'm doing well. No time constraints, no elephants. Missing, I think, has been noted from the district side. Can't see it down to the top side to read names. Expectation, make progress.
Good evening, I'm Heather Leonard. I'm doing well this evening. I don't have any time constraints outside of my normal ending time. I believe the listings have already been noted, no elephants, and I'll go with make progress.
Hi, my name is Amy Desmore, and I'm fine. No time constraints, our missing's there, no elephants, and my expectations are to make progress.
Hello everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm doing well. I have no time constraints. Missing has been noted, no elephants, and my expectations are to make progress.
Hi, I'm Carl. I'm doing fine. No time constraints. Was missing. I think it's been noted. No elephants. Expectations to make progress.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben. I'm doing great. I have no time constraints. The missing is noted. I have no elephants. The expectation is to make progress.
Hi, I'm Shannon Johnston. I am doing great. No time constraints, missing is noted, no elephants, and expectation is to make progress.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm doing great. I have no time constraints. Missing is noted. No elephants. Expectation, make progress.
Good afternoon. I am Helen. I'm doing well. I may have a time constraint where I have to leave about 5:45. Missing has been noted. No elephants, and expectations are to make progress.
Ann Cole, I'm doing well, no time constraints, missing has been noted, no elephants, and I will go with make progress.
Hi, I'm Suzette. I'm doing well. I have no time constraints, missing has been noted, no elephants, and my expectations are to make progress.
Thank you. Kirk?
Hi, good evening. I'm Kurt Fazone. I'm doing well. No time constraints. Missing, we also have Mario missing on our side. No elephants. Expectation, make progress.
What's on this wall? We gotta turn this one.
Typical management technique.
Kevin, it sounded better with Kevin.
Kalusa beat. There we go. just like me. Hello.
That's good.
Yeah, don't touch it anymore. It's right where we need it to be. Kevin Daly. I'm the president of the Teachers Association of Lee County. I'm fine. I have no time constraints. Missing, I think, has been noted. No elephants. Yeah, we'll go with make progress. And I want to thank everybody for meeting last week or the other week when I was in Tallahassee and getting stuff done. Thanks for I'm not the what did I say? Don't stop the show. There were definitely understudies that week, so I was happy that we were able to get stuff done in my absence.
Good afternoon. I am Jill Castellano. I am a peer collaborative teacher at Varsity Lakes Middle and the vice president of TALC. I'm doing quite well. I don't have any time constraints. I believe all of the missing has been noted. I have no elephants, and I will go with make progress.
Good afternoon. I am Anna Witten. I am a third grade teacher at Colonial Elementary as well as the TALC secretary. I am doing fine, but I'm also exhausted with testing season upon us. Missing's noted, no elephants, no time constraints, and my expectation is make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Shay Pearson. I am a testing coordinator at Island Coast High School, and I am also the TALC treasurer. I am doing well. I have no time constraints, missing has been noted, no elephants, and I'd also like to make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Amy Johnson. I am a 6th grade English language arts teacher at Mariner Middle School. I am well, I have no time constraints, missing noted, no elephants, and I'll just go with the majority so far, make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is LaShonda Hutchins-Clone, and I am doing okay today. I am the grades 3 through 5 math coach at Franklin Park Elementary. I don't have any time constraints. Missing is noted, no elephants, and my expectation is to make progress.
Good afternoon, I'm Christina Stewart. I'm the K-5 art teacher at Tortuga Elementary, and I'm doing well, and no time constraints, missing's noted, no elephants, expectation, make progress.
Good evening, my name is Iris Grimaldi. I am a school social worker and I am doing well tonight. No time constraints, missing has been noted, no elephants, and expectations are to make progress.
Good evening, my name is Louis Fisher. I'm the Director of Instrumental Music at Gateway High School. I am stressed out and tired and I'm about $1,800 poor. I have no time constraints. Missing has been noted, no elephants, and expectations make progress.
Thank you. I'm Amy French. I'm doing well. I do have any time constraints. Nobody in our group up here is missing, and I don't have any elephants. And my expectations is help you make some progress. We had 3 orange circles last time. It's completely the same.
Wow, and then one week more up.
I'm Monica Stevens. I'm doing well. I have no time constraints. We have no one missing up here in the front, and I have no elephants, and my expectations are to watch the progress.
And good afternoon, I'm Donna Munson. I'm doing well, no time constraints, and my expectation is to help you move along and make progress. And with that, we did have minutes that were sent to us last week, I believe. So does anybody have any corrections or deletions? I see Kevin and then Amy.
Kurt either got a promotion or a demotion. His title is not accurately represented. What are you? Page 3. Your director, right? Island Coast FEA director is his official title. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. And
All right, on page 1, under story, the second bullet says, in the second paragraph should read, could that just be the second paragraph should read?
Anything else?
Option 2 on page 2. The fourth bullet says might now always apply, should be might not always apply. The privilege might not always apply.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure if this should be the half, a semester says half a marking period. A 45 calendar day is requested to be added by the association. Because it is half a marking period, can we do half a semester?
Right. Marking period. Semester's good.
Yeah, one
What
quarter.
was the page and bullet and all that stuff?
For the last one, it was page 2, under option 2, the fourth bullet.
I got this one. It's the same bullet.
Yeah, same bullet.
And then it was, changed to half a semester.
Yes.
Half quarter.
A half a semester or one quarter.
What was it before?
It was, it said half a marking period, so either one quarter or half a semester. And I guess just to clarify, the caucus for the TALC report out says will propose edits to proposed option. I don't know if that could be, I don't know. It sounds weird. Maybe proposed edits to proposed option.
You said you were going to first night.
Okay, that's fine.
Would it be clear if we put which option?
How will propose? I got that as well. Oh. Yeah, I got that as well.
Alright.
What's the name? Like Will.
Like Will's going to propose options. We had our caucus and Will's gonna propose our options. On page 3, under story civic seal of excellence, the second bullet. It says first come, first service. I think that's supposed to be first come, first served. I actually had some time to read these in depth. I got them early enough, I looked at them over the weekend.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I think on page 505, I thought we put some time in there, but I don't know. It says the superintendent shall have authority to suspend the right to use the electronic system. I thought we had like a time frame in there, but.
I think that's the original proposal.
Oh, report, okay, all right, that's it.
Did I see your hand?
Yes. Just one. At the top of page 3, under Story Civic Seal of Excellence, FLDDC, I think should be FLDOE. That's all I have.
Okay. Anything else? Any other corrections, deletions? All right, seeing no hands, can we approve the minutes as corrected? All right, thank you. All right, the next thing on our agenda is Article 12, leave. One of our favorite articles. We do have a snapshot out here. We discussed it to some extent our last meeting, and Rob, start us off.
So just a little story about where we have been, where we're going. We met late in the week, last week, I think it was Friday actually, with Kerr and our team. Some members had conflict, so we didn't have everybody there. And we had a fruitful meeting and went over the crosswalk and the language that Will had drafted several years ago that has been updated. However, we're still in the process on our end of reviewing that. And I think we're willing to listen to story about leave if the TALC has any. I will just say that the reorganization of this chapter or this article is long overdue, and want to thank Will for the work he's done and for Kerr for participating last week. So that's where we are currently.
Okay. And Kevin?
I will reiterate that. I often describe the leave article as something that has been around for 50 years, has never really been touched, only been added to, and typically only been added to by attorneys. So it's about as clear as it's about as clear as mud. So long overdue to finally get this off of our plate and put in something that's a little clearer for all the employees to understand, no matter kind of what group they're with.
All right, so we have some language corrections, but they're still under review on the district side. So do we have any additional story or anywhere else we want to go with leave? Kevin?
I think again, and I've seen it in the I guess we'll call it proposed rewrite, because it's a strike all, as they said in Tallahassee. We're dealing with a strike all. The idea of bereavement leave as listed as a choice is certainly a good start, but it's been my goal to have bereavement leave as a separate category of leave, like there are some others in this as a start. And I don't know, I think I originally asked about talking to an actuarial about an organization this big, how often or how much kind of bereavement leave they think would be typical of a group of our size. And so I think that might be a good jumping off point to start. But I know we have a handful of examples of other districts around the state having specific bereavement leave, and I think we need to continue to look at how we stack up with salary and benefits, including the type of leaves we offer when we look at recruiting talent and, quite honestly, poaching talent from other districts.
Okay, so they can catch up there.
Yeah, I talked about
All right, anything else? Correct.
So a couple of things in the meeting that we had on Friday, the product that came out redefines the increments in which someone can take leave, moves away from 1/2 day to just increments, which is a little more flexible for folks at the work site. One of the arguments that we heard was why force an employee to take 1/2 day if they only need to take 2 hours for a doctor's appointment, especially in the climate we're in now with everybody being so just short-staffed. One of the other things just from the TALC side that we still had some concerns about that we wanted to discuss. One is as it relates to fitness for duty. The language as it's written now says that if someone takes 10 days within a 12-month period, the supervisor can have them submit to a fitness for duty test, with their doctor. And I think we need some more constraints around that. If some of our folks do earn vacation time, so if somebody takes 5 days of vacation and is sick for 5 days, should they really be sent to the doctor for a fitness for duty examination? That doesn't really make sense. I thought fitness for duty was kind of reserved for FMLA, workers' comp, things of that nature, and not just for missing a certain number of days throughout the year. One of the other items that we would like to discuss is the number of days that an employee can use of their sick days for personal days. Currently, the contract says that an employee may use a maximum of 5 sick days for personal use. The statute allows for up to 6. So TALC would like to have some conversation around upping that cap to allow for the 6th day. And in addition to personal leave, we would like to have a discussion around annual leave accrual or vacation accrual. I believe our contract limits that maximum to 45 days or 360 hours. And I don't have this statute in front of me, but I believe the statute allows for 480 hours of annual leave accrual. And I'll just throw something else out there. And some of the other state agencies allow for annual leave in excess of the cap to be rolled over to sick leave. We would like to discuss implementing that and see if there's anything in statute that precludes us from doing so as a school district. I don't believe so, but I haven't dug into it that deeply. And I had one more thing. Donna, if you'll give me a second. Sure. Terminal pay. In the existing contract, we have a chart that defines, how terminal pay is paid out, and we've lost that in the rewrite. So I would just like to ask that be included back in there. Just for easy readability, I have a better word this evening, so folks can see what the terminal pay looks like.
Okay.
But I think that's it for right now, Donna.
All right.
Oh, I was reminded of one other thing.
Yes.
Shared sick leave. So I'm looking at the statute, and the statute says that districts have to provide a policy to allow employees to authorize, then it goes on, spouse, child, parent, sibling. I'm sorry. And yeah, that's exactly what we currently do. We're curious if that's allowed to be expanded. For example, we heard a story from somebody that works in the charter school system that was allowed to transfer leave to anybody, any employee. I'm not so sure that's allowed, but wanted to have some discussion around that.
Okay.
And I believe that is, if you're writing the statute down, that's 1012.61.
All right. Anybody else? Right?
Thank you, Kerr. So I don't know where to start on some of these issues. I can't see Kerr, so it's.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I see him nod or shake his head, so I'm at disadvantage tonight. Regarding fitness for duty, I'm not aware of a situation, and principals or whoever else can correct me if I'm wrong, where when someone's been out for 10 days, and I'm not saying consecutive, just 10 days in a school year, that a principal or otherwise has said, I want that person to go for a fitness for duty exam. I'm not aware of that circumstance. And teachers work 196 days. If they're out 10 days, I'm not sure just if that's excessive. I don't know in this current day and age. So I think that's something, I concur with Kerr, that's something that I think is worth talking about.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that teachers only get sick leave, at least those that don't work 12 months. So there may be accrual issues there too. On the other issues, the district's willing to listen about a conversation of 5 to 6 personal days. The annual leave, we had a brief conversation with Donna before we started this session. I don't know the history of that, where the district landed on only being able to accrue 360 hours. I know what the statute says. I don't know if the statute at some point limited it to 360, but I would love to know how we came up with that number at this point. So that's certainly a conversation we'll entertain. Terminal pay, of course, that chart can be put back in there, or at least that list. And shared sick leave, I'm gathering from what you said, you'd like to add additional people to that? Is that? I can't see Kerr, so.
Yeah, if we're able to do so. And so the statute talks, there's a little double talk in the statute, and so, yeah, believe it or not, so I just wanted to have a conversation.
Okay. Because the management of that, I look down to my friends from finance. I don't know how we go about that, but that's another issue, sure.
I think, several years ago, we had the sick leave bank and we've done away with it. We haven't really had the discussion of bringing it back, but there's always that story, right, of the company where the 20-year employee gets cancer, they burn through their sick time and everybody decides to give them a day. You know what I mean? And so I think that's kind of the impetus behind that ask is one of those things in those kind of occurrences, not I need to go out of town next Friday, can I borrow a sick day? Again, I think some reasonable constraints as well from a kind of a perspective of manageability is certainly something that is warranted. I'm big on rights, but I'm even bigger on responsibilities. So again, I think the impetus there is, in case somebody has a kind of an illness that requires them to burn through all their time and the people in the school want to come together and maybe chip in a day or something. Again, if it's allowed.
All right, Ross, and then Shane.
Yeah, Kevin started off by talking about bereavement leave, and we do have it in here listed. I did want to just get some at least concurrence, and Kerr was in the meeting on Friday. We didn't talk about adding additional days. It's just additional bases for taking leave. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. That's where the conversation is currently.
Okay.
Not to talk standing up like I'm trying to make a point, but I think Kendry has like 3 days that are above and beyond the sick leave they give out that are separate. Many districts, and some of them are even like, if the funeral is 50 miles away, you get so many days. If it's 150, you get so many days. But I think Kendry has like 3 days in an additional file that people can use. It doesn't carry over. You can't say I haven't used bereavement leave in 10 years, so now I'm taking 30 days to get over it. It's one of those kind of where it's there if you need it as a benefit to the employees from a separate file. Yeah, and again, you define who family is, right? Immediate family is defined by whatever relevant statute.
All right, Shane?
So I hate to jump around back to something else, but the statute that talks about being able to use shared sick leave does have parameters in it that the person that you're donating to must have a physical, we call it ailment, that is documented by a doctor, and then there's a bunch of other things that go into it. The idea was kind of, I know we would want to look at establishing a sick leave bank again, but I don't know financially how plausible that is, and maybe doing something as a solution to maybe not bringing back the sick leave bank, but giving people the option to be able to share sick days might be a better solution.
Anybody else? Any other story? Do we have any options? Evan?
I think the strike all document serves as the best option, but I don't think we're there. I mean, I think there are still modifications that need to be made to it. I mean, I would rather advance the whole document, you know what I mean, as opposed to saying this section is okay and this section is okay. Again, just advance the whole document as a replacement for 12. And we may not be there tonight, but in the next session, probably be there.
Yeah, I know we're not there tonight because Rob started off by saying there are some people still reviewing what was done last Friday and what Will has been working on for a couple of years. So I know we're not there tonight, but Rob?
Well, I'm just wondering how we want to do this work, because Kurt listed about 4 or 5 different things. So some of which may involve language, some of which may involve financial implications, obviously. So, like, for instance, putting the terminal pay chart in there, that's no problem, obviously. Shared sick leave is another conversation. Fitness for duty, potentially another conversation. Increasing the personal days, increasing the amount of leave you can accrue. Those are financial and language. So Kevin may have an idea, he has his hand up.
Okay, Kevin.
I'm short on ideas tonight, but I have a question. So currently, and I'm going to ask a question, I'm going to answer a question that I think I know the answer, so I'm going to phrase it not like a question. When there's a fitness for duty request for an administrator, the employee currently has to use their sick time until the fit is complete, right? That's the way it goes now?
It would depend on the situation. The Code of Federal Regs has what's called the direct threat standard. And so if it's one where the person's presence on the work site constitutes a direct threat to the safety of themselves or others, then they can be asked to leave work and go get the fitness for duty assessment. In that case, they would be using their own sick leave while going to get that fitness for duty screening. In some cases, there's not a direct threat, but it's a concern about like, okay, do you have a medical condition that's interfering with your ability to perform your duties? And we just want to be able to rule that out, but there's not a direct threat. In those situations, people can do it outside of work and not have to use leave at all.
Kevin.
Is that requirement statutorily fine? Is the use your own in the statute or the reg, or is it just kind of past practice for the direct threat?
So the direct threat standard says like under what conditions you can order the person to go and not be at work. I don't know that it explicitly says, and you must use sick leave. Some places they have sick leave policies, some places they don't. If you're an hourly employee, some places you don't get paid, because you weren't working. So I think the federal reg is probably broader than what you're referring to.
And broadly speaking, and I know you don't have the number, you may not be able to get it because of various privacy regulations. How many of the fitness for duties typically happen in a year? Do you have any idea?
I think it would depend, because I think part of like fitness for duty, if you're talking about just medical certification generally, you could have a fitness for duty screening as part of a workers' compensation claim. There's the medical certification that's required for FMLA or for ADA. As far as the, I twisted my knee, playing flag football over the weekend, and it's interfering with my ability to chase after kids on the playground. We get a dozen or more of those a year. I think in most cases, people recognize that they've got, some sort of limitation as a result of a non-work related injury, and they, do what they need to do to take care of that. I think the fitness for duty cases are more the extreme. The couple of examples that come to mind most immediately, and these are past examples, I want to say at some point we had like a clinic assistant who had carpal tunnel syndrome, had to have some surgery, and so wasn't able to administer insulin or open pill bottles. Obviously that interferes with their ability to safely perform the duties of their job, but I think it's those kind of unique or extreme situations for the most part. People showing up with boots and crutches, again, that could become a fitness for duty thing, but I think most of the time people recognize their limitations, they're able to work within that, their boss works with them, it resolves itself pretty quickly.
And I think back to like the boots, the crutches, the wheelie carts, I think when you show up with that at your work site, you're sent home. I think that's a general assumption is, unless it's work comp related, you're sent home for fitness for duty. And so I just didn't know if it would be illegal to start, because there's something to be said for I come to work and you tell me I have to go home. I may not necessarily want to use my sick time because I don't think I'm sick. So who's on the hook for the time I'm out? So I just didn't know if it was if there was a legal constraint around the idea of, you know, it has to be your sick time when it's a fitness for duty thing, or it could be a separate category of sick time that doesn't count against the personal sick time. I don't know. It's just one of those situations where as long as we're asking, I figured I'd ask.
Okay. So again, yeah, Rod?
Just to try to clarify a little bit, so fitness for duty certification is different than a principal or supervisor asking an employee to go home because they may not be fit to work. So fitness for duty certification is typically done when someone has been injured, like you suggest, show up for work in a boot or something, or they're on FMLA, and we want to make sure that they're cleared to work. But then a fitness for duty examination by possibly a third party to determine whether someone is fit to work is typically as the result of something that happened at work, where we don't think the person may be fit to perform the essential job functions. So kind of the same thing, but two different things.
Kirk?
That's my point exactly, that the way that the language is written right now is missing 10 days is not something that's happened at work that we may need to make sure that the employee can do his or her essential job duties. In fact, I think that we should go back to the status quo language that clearly expresses that fitness for duty certification is related to FMLA leave or intermittent leave, and reasonable job safety concerns exist. And furthermore, I guess I don't necessarily agree that the employee's time should be used during a fitness for duty certification. For example, there's been a number of legal cases around this. There was a case in Hernando County, Florida, Kruger versus the school district. The 5th District Court of Appeal found that when the district placed her on unpaid status, it was tantamount to, quote, unlawful firing or dismissal. And, another judge has said that placing someone on unpaid sick leave and forcing them to use their own is the equivalent to suspension without pay. And so, our attorneys have taken a very different stance on this than the discussion that we're having now. So I wanted to add that to the conversation.
Okay. So do we have any options on, I heard status quo and something about not using your personal sick leave. So do we have any options on fitness for duty?
Sure thing. So I'll throw out two options. One, I would like to replace the fitness for duty language that's in the current draft. Donna, I don't really know how we're describing this thing. So this is Friday's draft.
Okay.
And I would like to replace it with the language that is currently in the contract under 12.02 parentheses 10 parentheses K.
Okay, so you want to replace the Friday document? Yes.
The Good Friday.
Good Friday?
Yeah, it wasn't on Good
No,
Friday.
it wasn't Good Friday. Friday?
It's a different document.
Leave committee?
So the Friday fitness for duty paragraph with what's currently in the TALC contract. And I have a second option as well, please.
That TALC contract was 12.02.
Yes.
Okay.
Option two, I would like to lift from the status quo document 12.04 parentheses 2. This is terminal leave payment. and insert it into the applicable part of the Friday document.
I think that we kind of already agreed to that one.
Yes,
Applicable
just don't want to forget.
language.
But it's okay to put it up there. It's to add to the document that's currently a draft, to add the table of terminal leave payouts that's currently in the current contract to that language.
And for the fitness for duty language,
This was terminal pay?
yeah, you want to take this terminal pay language and put it into the
Terminal pay section in this draft we're working on. Amy, I don't know what your pleasure is in this. I'm worried that we have too many numbers floating around, but in the draft, it would be inserted into 12.04. Oh, I lost it. 12.048.
And that's from the draft or from the current contract?
That is the draft, that's where it would be inserted.
Okay. 12.048.
Yes.
Before parentheses,
Yes.
where
Okay, anything else? Yeah, Rob.
So now that Kerr has touched on the FMLA certification language for fitness for duty, we may have some changes also that will have to go into the proposed draft regarding FMLA, because we know some things were not in the draft that we may want to have in there so employees are aware. So I understand his.
Contract now?
That are currently in there, yes, that didn't make it into the draft. So that certification language, in fact, may be one of them that our team saw today. So I appreciate the option, but I'm not sure we can necessarily do a straw design for that option today. I think we could do one for the terminal pay though.
Okay.
Because certainly we can insert that chart in there, or that list in there.
Amy, did you have a question on one of the options? Or are you okay?
there is options over here, and I just wanted to keep the last option.
Okay. Maybe you want to read the last option?
Sure. That's easy. Terminal leave, he wants to pull the applicable language and put it in the terminal pay draft that's going to be discussed. So from the current contract, pull that terminal pay language, put it in the draft and discuss on the Friday is. Yes, my apologies, I heard that, I thought we didn't want to have to do that.
No, it was just.
Trying to figure out how to write it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and Kevin.
And I guess we could consider the possible move to 6 personal days as an option as well. I mean, I think you think it is, but we'll just say change from 5 to 6 personal days as well.
Okay, go.
So regarding the fitness for duty and the 10 days and all of that, the district does have an interest in being able to request that an employee obtain, in the event that something comes up at the job that indicates they can't perform their work, we do have an interest in a fitness for duty exam for that type of employee. So Kerr's issue, I think, for FMLA is separate from that, which is where the 10 days came in. because the thought there is that if someone is off work that much, there may be something going on. So I don't want to lose that conversation, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because Kerr has proposed an alternative, although it's not an alternative to that. Kerr has proposed putting the current FMLA certification language that a person's fit to come back from FMLA back into the provision. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, Kurt?
It does. However, I think our hangup is over the use of our members on time. Right? I guess my question is, if the employer believes that someone is not fit to do their job, and they make that ask, hey, you need to go get a fitness for duty certification, why is that on the employees on time? Well, why isn't the employer paying for that?
I think, I hate to use this language, and Will mentioned it to me. I think every case is different. And a case-by-case situation, if someone has demonstrated some type of problem at work that we're willing to help them with, but they clearly cannot work, I'm not sure why, on the contrary, the district should be charged for that. So certain things are beyond individuals' control, and I understand that. That's why I'm using the term case-by-case, which I know is not great contractual language. I recognize that.
So have there been recent cases where the district has asked someone to get this fitness for duty certification and did not dock their sick time? And furthermore, I guess our second question is this on the employee's own dime going to their doctor as well, or is the employer paying for the doctor's visit?
Rob?
Will may have something to add. So at one time, and this is before your time, Kerr, we had a formal process where we would refer people to Lee Memorial and had a couple of Donna remembers, I'm sure. And we only had it for a year or two because it wasn't a real effective process. So I don't want to tell you that we have a lineup of doctors that we choose. We do not. But this isn't something we do often or all the time, not at all. But I do want to defend the district's ability to potentially ask someone to go see a third party to determine their fitness to perform their job. This is not an unusual thing to be in labor contracts, so that's all I'm saying. And the devil's in the details. I'm not really expecting us to get there today, but I don't want to lose sight of this issue with Kerr's option being up there regarding the FMLA certification.
Okay. Well,
I'm trying to unpack the question a little bit. So I think just to walk you through like an example of what happens. If someone shows up to work and it appears as though there's an illness or injury that's impairing their ability to safely perform their job duties, the district can provide accommodations in some instances, but I think kind of to Rob's point, we're not medical doctors, and so I can't make the determination as someone's supervisor that you've got a medical condition. First of all, just that you've got a medical condition, but then second of all, that you've got a medical condition that's interfering with your ability to do your work. So the asking the employee to go get a third-party assessment, from someone who is certified and able to make those determinations gives us more information to go off of when deciding what to do next. It's mainly to rule out that there's a situation. I think, again, it's not just a random thing. There's normally something that you can point to, like Kevin said, the crutches, the boot, the scooter. Sometimes it comes up in the context of someone submits for a work comp, but it turns out that the injury didn't occur at the work site. So they're not eligible for workers' compensation. In that case, they probably would have been seen by, a doctor as part of the notice of injury, process, and the district would be paying for that. But again, if someone showed up to work and disclosed that they weren't able to do heavy lifting because their back hurts and they've got this condition and whatever else, we would say, okay, can you bring me a doctor's note so that we can go from there? Or if you think that it's gonna prohibit you from being able to do your job, then you can't do your job. If I show up to work unable to perform my duties because of an illness or an injury, that's what sick leave is for. People get sent home when they are sick, especially if their illness is, again, threatening to compromise the safety of others. Someone throwing up in the middle of the workday, they're going to go home. I don't know that anyone has really argued that, no, I should be able to stay at work and continue to throw up. If it's interfering with work.
We're in a teacher shortage.
We do have a teacher shortage. These are extreme times. Maybe if no one finds out, you brush your teeth, you get back to work. But in most cases, we're not supporting that type of behavior. Go home, you don't feel good.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Got something done.
Okay, go ahead, Karen.
So I'm really trying to wrap my brain around this because I understand the vomiting in the middle of the hall argument. I really do. I don't understand any supervisor's ability in the district to send someone home because they feel like that person may not be fit to perform their job. I mean, the EEOC even says that if an employer sends an employee home who they reasonably believe will pose a direct threat, the guidance is to have them examined by the appropriate healthcare professional of the employer's choice on the employer's time, not using the sick time. To me, that's different than me being visibly ill in the school and having to go home for a day. That's even different for me, or in my mind, of in a rolling 12-month period, I've missed 10 days of work. So I'm struggling getting there.
Okay. Well,
Not to get too far into the semantics, but it's not a feeling of the supervisor, and they're often not making that determination by themselves. They're contacting human resources and they're looking for guidance on that. And so the direct threat standard, again, it's an individual assessment based on reasonable judgment, and I'm reading directly from it, that relies on current medical knowledge or the best available objective evidence. And you're supposed to look at the nature, duration, severity of risk posed by the individual, the probability and potential for injury, and whether reasonable modifications, or accommodations exist. So there's a lot that goes into that. It's not just a split-second decision. I mean, people are required to articulate why it is that they think that particular person is unable to perform their specific job or assigned duties. And in not every case does the person get sent home. I can think of another situation with a security specialist where the supervisor reached out and said, I can't afford to be down a security specialist right now, but I'm concerned about this person. How can I address this situation? Well, if the person is having issues with mobility and they're able to sit in the guardhouse where they're not required to be mobile, they can be stationary, then we would encourage the person to do that and say, hey, please, at whatever time is reasonable, come back to us with a note from your doctor saying that you're okay, that there's nothing for us to be concerned about. You're not going to end up in a situation where, again, you're going to injure yourself and the district is going to have a work comp situation, where you're out for an extended period of time, or there's some other liability where now the district is providing negligent supervision of students because you've got someone who's, again, physically unable to perform the specific tasks that have been assigned to them.
Anna?
So I think the way that you just described that is a lot more clear than looking at this language in the draft, especially around the part of an employee is absent for 10 or more days in a 12-month period. Because to me, that sounds like with that 10 days that we're looking at an absence problem, more so than what you just described. And I know this has been a difficult year than any other, but I know I read this and I know I've been gone for more than 10 days this year because of the hurricane. So it's not a fitness for duty thing, and that's just kind of a lens that I currently look at this through. But I think that language was a lot more clear than what this is around days.
Well.
Thank you. I think the individual assessment piece is a big part of it, and I do know the majority of administrators that are reaching out are trying to find ways to make sure that their staff can be at work and be of service to students. I don't think that people approach this from a place of I'm trying to find a way to punish someone, although I think like Kerr's saying, I can understand how someone would say, okay, how is this fair? In most cases, people really are genuinely interested in making sure that that person is okay and that other people are going to be okay. And that we're not going to find ourselves in a situation where, I'm in an ESE classroom and I'm not, physically prepared for what might come my way.
Okay.
I think my only concern here is the person that is asked to get this fitness certification, and we're going to send them to their own doctor. So I don't know if you've made a doctor's appointment lately, but some doctors are a week out. Some are 6 months out. My endocrinologist is just see every 3 months. I can't get an appointment for 8 months right now. My concern is, okay, let's say it takes them 3 days, and that person is now fit for duty. But that person's had to spend 3 of their sick days to prove that.
Well,
I think I know what you're getting at, and I'm sensing that there might be an option coming before too long. I again, being one of the people who receives a lot of the phone calls about fitness for duty stuff, you're absolutely right. I mean, we do tell people like, hey, please be aware of what time of year it is, how difficult it is to get appointments. In season seems to be especially difficult, and if you haven't made your appointment for first thing in the morning, months out, there are plenty of people who are not working who seem just as eager to take those early morning or late in the day appointments, which I know a lot of people find frustrating. One of the reasons for having the availability of this sick leave is so that people can go and get it addressed. It doesn't necessarily require a specialist visit. I mean, if you're looking at ADA accommodations, that maybe would require some more specialized knowledge. I think in most cases, again, people have already been seen by their doctor and they just need to go get a note, or it's something that can be taken care of, honestly, with a teledoc or convenience care, convenient care visit, it's, I'm trying to think of if we've had any where someone has said, you know, my first doctor couldn't quickly dispose of the matter and now I'm having to schedule follow-up visits. That would be more of like an FMLA ADA thing. I think, again, pretty quickly we can size up whether there's a direct threat or not. The doctor's gonna look at you, look at your job description and say, yeah, you can probably do this or not.
Have you had an instance where an employee was forced to have a fitness for duty certification and the doctor said that they were fit? And if so, is that employee's sick time returned to them, or are they still charged the sick time for their absence?
I don't know, I mean, again, semantics, I don't know that anyone's forced to do anything. I mean, I think we request it. People could say no, we would then have to figure out how to proceed. I'm trying to think of situations where, like you're saying, though, people have gone and the doctor has cleared them to come back to work pretty quickly. I'm not aware of many, if any of those. And again, some of it might have something to do with the way that a lot of these are triggered. A lot of the ones that I see, it's someone brings in a note that says, I'm not able to do all of my job, but I still want to be able to do some of it. Can I still be at work? Or, you know, again, the crutches, the little knee scooter thing like Kevin was saying, it's something visible that calls into question whether or not you can do all of the essential functions of your job. So I guess the answer to that is I'm not aware of any. Not to say that it hasn't happened, but I think again your question about if it were to happen, would the person be credited back for the time? Currently, I don't think that happens. Although I'm also not sure, like if my school's right next to a convenient care and I can walk over and get the note and walk right back, I don't know that anyone's going to charge you for the leave for walking over and walking back. I could be wrong. I'm also not sure how many schools are located right next to convenient care to even make that a possibility.
I didn't even think about convenience and adversely affecting potential, employees in very rural places and not so rural places. That my mind didn't go there. And my mind is in a property may not be the right word, but sick leave it has value, and to be able to request or direct an employee to utilize that time, that's a hurdle I'm not able to cross right now where we sit. So it's yeah.
Okay, anybody else?
Sure.
Well,
I think similar to that, but maybe on the other side is the sick leave request. It's not a demand. So I think kind of like you're saying, it makes sense to me, being an employee, that I would want to have some self-determination over the use of my leave. The same thing being, a supervisor, it is a request. You have to ask to use it. You don't just get to tell people that you're not going to be at work and not provide an excuse or a reason or some sort of justification for that, especially in instances where it causes disruption. And I know that there is some tension in that, and I know not everyone agrees with that perspective. But I am saying all of that to say I understand where you're saying, don't tell me how to use my leave, and I will tell you how to use my leave.
I think we need a 15-minute caucus on this.
okay.
caucus? No. All right. You have a room, right? Okay.
Okay, let's get back together. It's a little more than 15 minutes, but I expected nothing less. Kurt, do you have a caucus report?
No, we didn't talk about it.
Is that what we're supposed to do?
That was a long talk about nothing then.
All right, so I apologize, it didn't seem longer than 15 minutes. We had a lot of discussion about the option, and our advice that we've received from our council. So I think we need some time to digest the language and perhaps come up with a proposal. But as it stands right now, I'm not so sure that we're comfortable moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll just leave it there.
Right there? All right, the district did not caucus, so if you're not comfortable moving forward, where are we gonna go? Article 12 was the only thing tonight on the
And I meant with fitness for duty, I don't have an option for fitness for duty
Okay.
or anything of that nature, I should have clarified.
Okay. Well, and let's see. What about terminal leave or personal leave? Or 5 to 6 personal days. Or the terminal leave, Rob.
I appreciate Kerr's comment. We can certainly potentially get an orange circle on the terminal pay language.
Okay. You want to look at that option? That was option 2. I believe the terminal leave is putting the chart that's in the current contract into the new draft language.
Correct, yes.
We okay, everybody, to?
Sure.
So we can get Amy her orange circle? All right, okay.
Let me just clarify, it's not actually a chart, it's A through D, or A through E.
I didn't write chart, I just wrote language.
Okay, that's fine.
She said language.
Okay.
All right, so are we okay with option 2 to put that language in the new draft language? Right, yeah.
Yes.
All right, can I see thumbs, please? All right, we're good. Option 2 is done. All right. How about personal days 5 to 6? Do we have any further story on that, or her?
No, I'm happy to test that, but if I remember, I don't believe the district's ready because there is a potential financial implication.
Bob?
No, that's correct, thank you, Kerr. We know the issue, not prepared to test that today.
All right. So we will leave 1 and 3 for another day. Anything else then for tonight? More on Article 12 that we can discuss tonight. Now the language is still out there.
Not on Article 12, but calendar-wise, we have a meeting the 8th and then the 22nd, is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just add this, the last day of the legislative session is May 5th. Probably in the late hours of that evening, there will be some kind of budget deal made, so we may know more that weekend and the following week or weeks afterwards. So I'm not sure, I think we can wrap up this leaves language on the 8th, potentially. But I'm not sure we'll be able to talk budgetary compensation numbers that quickly. So I just wanted to warn people when they hear the legislature reach the budget deal and think automatically that following Monday that we can come here and talk about that, right?
And it may not even be done that Monday, who knows?
Take that back.
They
have one job.
Yeah, they do, however. Anything else? So our next one is May 8th. Do we have anything else for tonight?
Anna wanted to know about Article 7,
What about Article
please.
Wasn't that article also open?
Because again, I think we can kind of wrap up language by the 22nd, and possibly TISA. That may be easy, but maybe not.
Okay. I guess we're talking about Article 7. Snapshot.
I think that was a district choice, and there is a financial impact to that, so I'm not prepared necessarily to talk about that tonight.
I think it was more not kind of what the direction is, because we just know Article 7. We don't know, I don't think we know kind of what in Article 7 the idea is, so I think that was more the,
We can't find the snapshot.
Okay.
Up here, but it should be in the first set of minutes you got.
okay, first set of minutes.
So that Article snapshot should give you an idea of what we're supposed to talk about.
Well, and I'll just fill in the blank a little bit. I think there's a desire for more additional instructional time. So, which I think the snapshot probably says. I don't have it here either.
Was there anything else that you think of other than the additional article time? That's about it. Okay. Kevin?
I will say from this end, there's also an interest in increased time for lunch.
Okay. So we have two things, increased time for lunch and increased instructional time. Both could have financial implications. So unless you want to do some story tonight on 7. You want to do story? Laura?
Actually, another issue under 7 is in the event of a tragic event or hurricane, or we wanted to talk about language under 7.042 regarding emergencies. So that was the other issue.
So is that something we could tackle tonight?
Yeah, I can, no, it's not basically language. I mean, there's financial implications also, but I can talk a little bit about the story. In the other salary schedules, including SPALC, we have specific language for paying those individuals during an emergency, a declared emergency. That language is lacking in the TALC contract. For whatever reason. So, although folks were paid similarly to those other groups during Ian or after Ian, we didn't necessarily have the language in the contract to follow.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So basically, that's about contract again?
We would like to, I believe, and I'm looking down at Amy, like to make them consistent, I believe, is the desire, yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to have another hurricane, so there's no reason to discuss this language, at least for the next 4 years and 42 days.
All right, anybody have any additional story to what Rob said? Rob, you want to put us out the option up there?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have the other contract in front of me. It may take some finessing to their language to make it adaptable to TALC, so I'm comfortable with just the story at this point, and then bringing that language back.
Okay. All right, anybody else want to do any story on anything else in Article 7? Yeah. We've mentioned 3 different things now. Shay, you need my.
So with the proposed changes in Article 12, in Article 7, 7.053,
It talks about vacation for our 12-month employees, and it's broken down as half, like 1/2 of the workday. Would we be changing that to increments?
And language in Article 12.
Correct.
Yeah. What part is it?
No, oh yeah, sorry, 7.06, 3.
Yeah, 3, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, thank you. I think at first blush, just looking at that, the answer would be yes.
Okay. Anything else? Any other story? We want to start for Article 7? I know a lot of it is financial implications. We haven't heard that yet, but any other story? We had the lunch, the additional day. And if I don't see any other stories, then we can call it an evening.
That's fine with the district at this point.
Okay?
Thank you, everyone.
Kevin's already packed, so. All right, with that,
We hope to have a considerable language day on May the 8th.
budgetary information, we not. Oh,